D drive and E drive. Actually, there is no separate C drive. There is no separate physical D drive. There is no separate E drive. It is all partitions or virtual partitions within your hard disk. Similarly, you can have inside your computer, you can have different partitions. Each partition or each not partition, each high virtual machine can have a different operating system, can have a different memory system, memory process, can have a different processor, or not a processor, it can have different operating systems. The processor may be one or same or dual or whatever, but either way within a computer you can break it down into different what should I say, virtual machines. So each machine acts as if it has its own processor, it has its own memory, it has its own operating system, but actually there may be only one processor, or there may be two processors. There could be multiple processors also, but that illusion is created by the operating system that each virtual machine is independent, has its own processor, has its own memory, has its own storage and everything. So that illusion comes, and many of the operating systems have built on that concept of virtual machine. Today cloud is, what is a cloud? You have all thin clients. Each thin client is like a virtual machine, and then you go to the cloud, the server is there, there you go and access what you want. So it's the same concept, more or less, which has developed into the cloud. So today, now we will go into the basic of an operating system, the most what should I say, the encapsulation of all activities of the operating system happens through what is known as a process. A process is like a fundamental unit for the operating system to work, and we will be seeing what is a process, how do you schedule processes, how do you communicate between processes, and so on. Now we always use job and process interchangeably, but actually it is not exactly correct. That even the textbook looks at that way, that job and process are more or less the same, but actually they are slightly different. Sometimes we use process and program also interchangeably. Even that is wrong. A program is basically many processes may be there in a program, and we have to also understand we are now living in a multi-user environment. Almost everything we see is multi-user. So having said that, we may be having the same process being used by two different users, right? Even if it is a virtual machine, I may be using your process, you may be using my program, I may be using your program, we may be sharing data between each other. So that multi-user environment is generally there. So job and process are not exactly the same, but we can more or less use it interchangeably. Process and program are not the same, right? We will also see a thread. You might have heard about Java multi-threading. Actually, a program is consisting of several processes. A program is also consisting of several threads, but actually the thread and process are not the same. We will, when we learn multi-threading and all, we will understand. But basically in multi-threading, you might have, I don't know if you have done a Java course, you have a program broken down to threads. Each thread may have several processes. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So a program which is monolithic or which is continuous or sequential may have several processes. Likewise, when you are doing parallel computing, you have a program that is broken into different threads. Each thread is actually a strand, but that thread may also have different processes. So we have to understand this difference. These are very subtle, and sometimes these may be little confusing also, but please understand, a process is a program in execution, and it is a part of a program. A program may be having several processes. Some of these processes may be executing by different users also. And generally speaking, a process has a very clear structure to it. There is a text section over here which basically consists of the code of the program. There is a program counter that talks of where the processor has to look for the next instruction. There is a stack with temporary data and variables. There is a heap which consists of dynamic memory allocation, where in the storage it is being given, and there is a data section which is having global variable. So every process will have these kind of things: text for the instruction, the data for the global variable, the heap for the dynamic memory allocation, the stack which will have all details about the temporary data and the other parameters, addresses, local variables. So this is how a process looks like in memory. Now, a process may have different states. A process can be new, it is being created. A process can be running, that means that part of the program is being executed and it is instructions are executed. A process may be waiting in the sense, like, you need some data or you need some input from somewhere, you need a variable from somewhere, so you are waiting for that variable. A process may be ready to execute, means it is ready, it is not waiting, but it is just waiting to be assigned to be a processor, and a process can be terminated. Now this is very important, because you in the lab also we will try to do some kind of process instructions also, how to create a process, how to convert a process. A process can be new, created, a process can be ready to be executed, but it is waiting for a processor. Once it gets a processor, it goes to running state where it is being executed. Sometimes an interrupt may happen and then it goes back to the, it may stall and go to waiting. It may also go back to be interrupted and go back to ready because it couldn't do anything. So you have to understand that there is a lot of transitions happening. A new process may be formed, but because of some problems it can be completely easily terminated, and again you have to start again. A new process may be initiated. It may be ready, but it goes on waiting for a processor, and the processor resources don't come. It continuously moves to waiting state for a long time. After some time, it waits forever, and then that process gets terminated. So you have to understand that these states are highly dynamic, and these states can all be to a new process can be starting itself, it can be terminated. A new process can be ready and it can wait forever. A new process can be running for quite some time, and all these kind of subtle movement from one process to another and vice versa is where the operating system plays a very important role. And here we will see how the operating system schedules the processes, gives priorities to the processes, takes care of important processes, and so on and so forth. Now I'll close with this. Every process, there is some sort of what is known as a control block. Every process, it's like an identifier, a repository identifier for every single process. I told you a program will have multiple processes. If the program is divided into threads, multi-threads, each thread may have various processes. Please understand this and don't get confused. Now, every process will have an identifier for all its repository information. First, it is the state. Is it new? Is it running? Is it waiting? Is it terminated? An ID, a number. A program counter, that is, after the process is executed, where should the CPU look for the next instruction? That is in the program counter. It will have registers at the physical level. These registers are, for adding, for subtracting. I don't know if you have learned microprocessors, but I'm sure you might have. Inside the processor, when you are giving 2 plus 2, in the processor, some sort of registers are adding that 2 plus 2. Those kind of things come here. Then the registers, the scheduling information, the memory limits, how much memory can be used for this process, what is the dynamic allocation, the accounting, the space, the how much usage of the memory, how much time the processor needs, list of open files, input output device information, whether this process is connected with a printer, whether this process is connected with a mouse, whether this process is connected with a scanner, and so on. So this is like the process control block, also called task control block, is basically like an ID of all the repository information associated with it. It is like an identifier. So please understand, process is the basic unit with which the operating system works. Processes can be in various forms, various states are there, like new, running, waiting, ready, and terminated. And a program usually consists of several processes. If the program is Java based and multi-threads and object oriented, then each thread will consist of various processes. And this is the basic unit with which the operating system works. That's all for today. I will close for today. We will have the quiz tomorrow on the other chapter. Otherwise, that will be at the 12 o'clock, no? Yeah, 12:05, 4th hour class, 12:05 to 12:15. And after, there will be no class tomorrow. I'll close for today. Please answer. I see 35 people. That means 2 people are absent, so I have to take attendance. Ardra, Aaron, and Ashika. Okay. Abhay, Aishwarya, and Akash. Okay. Anjali, Ankita, and Anne Maria Wilson. Ankita. Okay. Arundhati, Ashwin, and Ashwin Anand. Arundhati, Ashwin, and Ashwin Anand. Okay. Bhavana, Dhanushri, and Dhruva. Bhavana, Dhanushri. Dinesh, Kirtana, Priya, Krishnendu. Okay. Kritika, Lakshmi, Malavika. Okay.